she wondered who's going to teach the DARE program, because she said she was impacted by the DARE program when she was a 10-year-old, and I was her DARE officer. And so she expressed interest. We sent her to the academy, and she was internationally certified to teach DARE was that graduation in November?
September.
September, okay. So she implemented a brand new kind of DARE program. It's an after-school option for students in the 5th grade. And she graduated the first class of students relatively recently. They were happy, hopeful, and they loved Officer Danielle Kale, and so do we. In fact, Danielle Kale won the Outstanding Service Award nominated by her, come on up here, sister, nominated by her peers. Congratulations, way to go. Did you want to give a little speech? You can. Well, I promised I'd take 5 minutes, and so Mark Cole, would you come up here, buddy? Corporal Mark Cole has been with the agency for 5 years, but it seems like 7. And incidentally, on a sad note, the guy who developed the wind chill factor died this morning, 97 years old, but he felt like he was 85. Just kidding.
It gets better every time. I'm telling you.
So, Mark Cole, Corporal Mark Cole, has the kind of grit, the kind of core value where he sees something that needs to be done and he does it, doesn't ask for permission. He knows he's got permission, and he does it, and I respect and appreciate that to the nth degree. One example of this is when Mark Cole found out that the Camp Character program really needed a rock-solid, top-shelf launch pad for the Big Dog zip line. He talked his neighbor, Brian Campbell, into building it pro bono. Now, Brian Campbell is a renowned construction worker in the Republic area. He came out 3 Saturdays or 4 and did half Saturdays until that was finished. And that's as good a launch pad as you'll find anywhere, even in Branson. Mark helped with that. His kids helped with it. That's what I'm talking about. Getting things done. So much respect and so much appreciation that you're the outstanding winner of the Character Award. Way to go. We had a hot call the other day. It was a domestic disturbance in progress. I was second, on scene. I was right behind Mark Cole. It was a subject that needed to be managed quickly, while things were still under control. Mark managed that. It made me feel so proud, used just the right amount at the right time to get that thing resolved. So, yay for Mark.
Well, thank you to all of you for your service and what you do for the community every day.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next section is for citizens input. If anybody would like to step forward and give your name, your address, and tell us what your thoughts are, or ideas, or anything else, feel free to come forward and speak your mind. See no one? I'll close that section. All right, Steve, you want to give us a project manager report?
Yeah, with regards to the 94 lift station of reinforcement replacements, Young's General Contracting has received a substantial quantity of 18-inch high-density polyethylene pipe. You got a lot of it laid out along Old North Willard Road, south of where the highline, the tunnel is on Highway 160. So they're staging that. Training and certification for fusing and fusion equipment operators will occur on the 18th of February. I had it the 9th in my note, but it had been delayed a little bit. Financially, we have received our 4th payment from the EPA that is back to working like clockwork now. And with regards to COP financing, talking to Piper Sanders, they haven't put together a debt schedule yet because of the volatility in the bond market. Bond market's been doing a lot of ups and downs here lately. So they're gonna wait a couple more weeks and see if that stables out where they can put together a projected finance schedule and what the actual interest cost would be. With regards to the abatement order on consent with our pipeline problems of years ago, we received a modified abatement order that followed an amended one that I had sent in, which followed the original one, and submitted that to DNR for review. We're down a couple of paragraphs that I suggest need some language change in it to make it reflect the accurate conditions at the time and the accurate conditions at the time the document's executed. So hopefully we'll hear from that sometime this week. If we do and everything looks good, Wes and I'll get together, and if we're all in agreement, we'll bring it for board action. With connection of the Meadows area of the city of Springfield, Judy Wallace has started on the east end of the project down at the airport lift station. My understanding is he cut the road today, should have the pipe under the road and backfilled at the 103 and 106 intersections. I'm not for sure when that road will be open. My suggestion is they come back in and permanently patch the cut before they open the road back up. Otherwise, you're to another round of road closing and confusion again. And we've got good weather now the next week or so, and you place concrete without any problem. And they also begin clearing brush and grub along the north side of 106 along the Klingenberg property, and making the necessary cuts for benches to excavate the trench for the gravity main. Some of that's going to be fairly deep, and then they need to bench that back and step it back rather than have a high wall ditch that'll have to be shored all the way to the top and has potential to collapse. So that's where we stand pretty well right now. Things are all rolling, materials are in. Meadows material is all in, both manholes and piping. So it's a matter of good weather and the contractor moving forward with it. Got any questions we'd like to answer?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, item number 7, we have for discussion on the swimming pool hours, member, non-member rate structure, cost recovery metrics, and concession pricing.
Thank you, Mayor. This is some housekeeping. The park board on Thursday put the official stamp on the swimming pool hours and fees for the summer 2026 season with an open date of June 1st and a close date of August 8th. Not a lot to discuss, some fee increases in the area of season passes and daily admission rates. I'm sorry, not daily admission rates. Season passes and the swim team. And they just reviewed those reports and recommended that I proceed with those, so just providing an update on that. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Is it not feasible to be open for Memorial Weekend?
We looked at that, and one of the ways that we're trying to reduce staffing costs is that the first couple of weeks, just shortening those. Those are our lower volume attendance hours. Water's cool, not a lot of participation that first week, so. It is the traditional start of summer, but it's also low attendance. It has been traditionally, because, well, it has
It's
been
been chilly.
recently.
I mean, I know it's been
Real chilly,
chilly
65
over the
degrees, so.
last couple of years, yeah. Okay.
And then, as far as the August end dates, between staff going back to school and all of the end of summer trips that people try to sneak in before school starts back up, attendance really drops that month of, that first part of our August also, so.
Well, thank you and the board for, your Parks Board for coming up with ideas and trying to increase revenue any way you can. So I'm glad you guys are on the right path, and unfortunately, nothing's getting cheaper. None of us like it, but nothing's getting cheaper.
Jason, I did have a few questions.
Sure.
One will tie down to concessions that we can get there, or I can just dump it all out there now. But like, on the rentals, you showed that there was 90 hours at $225, but then in your calculations, you had 45 at $225?
So yes, so 90 hours, we have a 2-hour minimum, so there's 45 rentals at
Gotcha.
225, so.
Gotcha. And then, I think it was the cotton candy that had one price structure at one location and a different price structure at another,
Oh.
but that can be tweaked later. I just was gonna point that out. Just had that same project at work this week. Had different pricing in 2 different locations.
All right, if there's nothing else, on item number 7, item number 8 is just a discussion on the, from the Park Board regarding the possibility of a tax. So who's gonna head up that discussion? Is that you or Wes or?
Jason, you want to take the lead, and I'll just throw in, there was a sound issue at the beginning of the video, so just to kind of give it in the electronic record, it was changed from resolution to discussion item, and then just as a kind of seg into it, the discussion and direction you give us will kind of let us know how we need to proceed going forward. For a ballot issue, we need to have specific language that the voters will get to consider, and that we've had an ordinance structure, so the resolution won't quite work for this, but I think it's a good launch into just kind of discussion, and then Jason can present what the Parks Board discussed the evening when they supported this as an idea.
So, thank you. On Thursday, I presented to the Park Board the option to recommend that the Board of Alders consider a 1/4 cent sales tax with a 25-year sunset fund operations of the Parks Department. So essentially what that would do would be, it would be specifically earmarked for only the operations of Parks services. It wouldn't include capital investment. No new development would be funded by the operations tax. It would basically cover the operations of the buildings, the mowing and maintenance of the properties, and repairs that don't meet that capital threshold. It essentially would be a mechanism or tool to fund the operations of the Parks Department that is outside of the general sales tax. there was some discussion with the board, the park board, and they recommended that I present it to you. And then they did ask also about the ballot language. I said, obviously, I can't write the ballot language. I don't know what it needs to say. But that I would present their recommendation to this board to move forward on considering parks operations sales tax on the April 2027 ballot.
So what's everybody's thoughts?
I would say that, first of all, I appreciate the work that's gone into the rate structures and looking at the cost of the programs and trying to tie that in. That's something that I personally have been asking for over 2 years now. So for it to finally come to fruition, I'm grateful to see that. I'd like to see more accountability like that. I am not for a tax increase. I would like to see what accountability does for us first. That's just my personal is I'd like to see what the accountability does for us in accounting each program in the same way that we've done with the pool. And
yeah, the board communicated that as well, the park board communicated that as well. My counterpoint to that was, I think that's a great idea. We've got all of 26 to approach that. If we move forward with agreeing to put a tax on the ballot, we can start the ballot language now and have it ready to go. So when we get to December, we've got everything ready to go to drop it into the ballot. If we don't need to, we don't have to. The board can say, you know what? Turns out, Jason, the accountability helped. We're not in a position where we feel like a tax is necessary, but that keeps us from having this conversation in December on a shorter timeline if that's something to consider moving forward.
It's my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, that, you know, we're all supportive of accountability, but even if we are as frugal as humanly possible, it's my understanding that the gap would still be much too large to close just by increasing the cost of M&Ms and cotton candy. So, while I agree with everything you're saying, that's certainly one prong of the offensive, so to speak, but that's not gonna cut it.
I would agree.
We need more. And right now, we just don't have it. So, I think it's something that we definitely have to consider.
How long, like when, if we do push it off, when do we need to have it in by?
10th Tuesday before the election. Sadly, I had to learn all this right now because we're just on 8th Tuesday before you can ask a judge, which is tomorrow, you can ask a judge to add it to the ballot. It's not a big lift at all. It's an ordinance that you vote on to add it to the ballot. You preferably should do that prior to the 10th Tuesday, prior to the election, which this year was January 27th. So it's a Tuesday by 5 o'clock. The clerk has to have the certified ordinance. And so you can do it most definitely in December. That would be after you've gone through budget concerns and looked at numbers. It is not a big lift to get that on the ballot. Putting it on the ballot doesn't mean it passes, right? So, of course, as a body, you guys cannot spend or utilize any aspects of the city, including any city property or city elements like the copier, to send out anything other than factual information. So the lift of getting the vote, it would fall onto someone else or people during their personal time. Certainly none of you are prohibited from, especially in your position as an alder, you can, not from here, but you can absolutely go out and talk to the media and say, you know, this is super important to me. But it's not a problem to add that and to define that. It's getting it passed.
And two other considerations you might keep in mind, at a quarter cent, you're looking at a very, very approximately 150,000 a year, so it doesn't quite cover your transfer. The other thing to consider is, and you may have to weigh in because I may get the wording slightly wrong, but I believe it starts falling, so if the voters approve it in April, it starts on the second quarter following the second month of collection being received by the state, which would be roughly, we'd see it starting in November of 27.
Yes.
So it wouldn't be enough to really do, you looking at 2 years lead time, basically.
2 years budget time.
Yep.
Most definitely, you would not be able to factor it in on any budget decisions. Now, you could call it on an early election. We do not recommend that because of who else votes then. And so it makes it much harder. We find traditionally they don't pass when they're during August or November elections.
The other question I have is, even if we decided that we would pass this, who is actually getting the tax for this?
Anybody
Is
who
it-
pays sales taxable,
Just in
taxable
within the
services
city?
within city limits.
My question is, what are we currently at and where do our current sales taxes go for wheelers? Like, where are they allocated right now?
Most of them, I'm going off the top of my head, but you've got, most of them are gonna be general. We've got the one that's general but dedicated towards public safety. And I say it that way because we can't call it a public safety tax officially. There is a capital improvement tax, which is going towards the pool currently. But it was passed for capital improvement, related tasks, infrastructure, that kind of thing. I forget the other pieces, but approximately we're at 2% right now, which leaves us with 0.5% left, and then we would be capped out unless the legislature pass some sort of rule that changed that cap. That wouldn't leave us any wiggle room. You know, if something bad happened, it would be difficult to solicit additional sales tax beyond the remaining 0.25% if this passed. Doesn't mean you couldn't represent them to the public and say, hey, we'd like to change how this is allocated and put it towards this purpose instead, but again, you gotta just keep in mind that is a lift that may fail.
Or
And there were-
become a charter city, and then you don't have to ask for this.
And there'd be nothing saying that in the future, correct me if I'm wrong, Holly, if, you know, if our expansion plans are successful and we start seeing increased revenue, that at some point, if the public were to pass this for the parks, then we could come back and sunset it before the 25 years, if the board wanted to.
And you can include that in the ballot language.
Do we have any of these others that are set to sunset?
Off the top of my head, I'd have to look. I
The pool's
think
gonna
they're
be
all,
finished in, what, 7 years?
yeah, 20, yeah.
But I'd like Wes's plan, what his intention is to do with that money, to start actually getting a capital improvement fund, so we can actually start doing things like roads and
Right.
things that people can actually see.
Well, it'd be kind of boring, you have to have that visible next year, in the next year's
Yeah,
budget.
so, what I like about the proposal, and obviously we don't know if it passed or not, but what I like about it is it gives the people the decision. You know, whether or not they,
Agreed.
whether or not they want to do the best they can to, you know, help the Parks Department be successful. And
My concern with that is that a lot of the people who participate in our parks
programs
activities
are from out of town.
are from out of town.
Yeah.
And it's just like our water, the people out of town don't have a say. And what I tend to notice, the ones who are out of town have the loudest voices.
Yeah.
And
And
they're also, a lot of times, the ones who are most active.
Sure, and that'd be something the Parks Board can address, if, I don't know if you guys have already had those discussions or not, but, you know, that'd be a discussion for you guys to discuss, you know, elevated fees and associated costs for people that live
We
outside
have
of
members
Willard.
versus non-members.
That was
If they're gonna you know, if they're gonna partake in, you know, the programs that the people of Willard pay for, they need to pay a commensurate amount.
But then that drives them out to want to go someplace else.
Well, it's gotta be one or the other.
Right.
You know, if they decide they want to go to Republic, go to Republic. But it's really truly, in my opinion, a matter of fairness. You know, people of Willard are the ones paying the tax for, you know, the Parks Department, and there are other people enjoying it.
And I think, and I'm trying to scroll to see where I read it, just because I don't want to misquote the number. It was in talking about registration fees.
Oh, that would be in the member, non-member fee structure.
Member, non-member.
It would be the second section under section 7. Yeah, we discussed, so utilizing Nixa is kind of a model. Nixa does their resident, non-resident fees based on zip code. Willard has 5 zip codes of participants in our program that really are, they count themselves as Willard residents because of the school district. So rather than muddy the waters of, are you a resident or a non-resident? Well, do you pay water or are you on sewer, which we have established that those folks may be Willard folks but aren't technically residents, that there's just a lot of muddying around that right now. So the Nixa also overlays a member, non-member structure of fees, which overrides their resident, non-resident fee. So we've put into place a member, non-member fee structure. So if you join the rec center at $30 a month for a family, you get the reduced rate for your program registrations. And if you decide, actually, you know what, I don't want to be a member of the rec center, I'll just pay the extra $15 per registration. It gives us an opportunity to capitalize on, if they join the rec center, we collect that membership fee. If they don't join the rec center, we collect that additional program fee. So a lot of the way we kind of framed it internally was, we're looking at a lot of our members are also residents. They're close enough to make good use of the rec center, so they've signed up, they're a member already. So rather than trying to leverage in another metric to measure how much Willard resident you are, we just said member, non-member. As Willard continues to grow its borders and incorporate more of our citizens into the actual resident status, we'll be able to revisit that and say, listen, if you're everyone who's on Willard Water is now a Willard resident, you pay the resident fee. Everyone who's not on Willard Water, as we move down that track, we'll be able to revisit and adjust our member, non-member structure to be a true resident, non-resident structure. But that's all.
No, I'm impressed.
So here was my question,
Yeah.
and I mean, again, I feel like we have all of the programs that potentially some of that needs to be scaled back. We had, according to your report, a total of 850 registrations across every activity. Is that how I understand that? So that's your swim, your soccer, your baseball, volleyball, whatever youth sports that you have. There's only been a total of 850 registrations for all of the programs?
For all sports programs, 850 registrations, yeah. So that's pretty close to accurate with what we have with our sports programs. And again, using the metric of residents, non-residents, citizen, non-citizen, we've got a population, we have a school district size of, 6,500 or something like that. And only a small portion of those are in, assumedly a little bit less than half, because registration rates are lower than they have been, but that's still 15% participation, which is relatively okay for youth sports participation and recreation programs. But when you move into our other non-program participation, like the aquatic center, we don't make you pre-register to use that, so that bumps our numbers way up. So we have, this year we did drop our spring volleyball league because registration numbers were really low in that traditionally, so we dropped that one. Baseball is one that I think Ashley sent me the a rough draft of a zero-based budget on baseball to see where cost recovery is on that. I hear your point of what do we need to do? And I think for the community of Willard, we need to try to offer as much as we can, as long as we're meeting those cost recovery metrics. Because Willard is the community, and once we start outsourcing our kids, I mean, yeah, they'll come back to go to high school and play high school sports, but now that there's school choice, will they? Will they come back to Willard and play, or will they stay at Republic and play for Republic's football and basketball team? So I think we need to offer as much as we can.
And the reason that kind of jumps to me is when you had shared about the baseball program earlier in the year, that we had, I think, 120 from kindergarten to 6th or 7th grade.
4th grade.
I was like, how do you even have enough people to play teams that they're not playing the same people? And so that's where I just feel like if you don't, and I mean, that's not necessarily 850 different kids, because
Right.
I know kids that play every sport. So are we really servicing 200 kids that play 4 sports, or are we servicing 850 people?
Sure.
So that, I mean, that's just some of the things that I was thinking of as I read through that.
Mhm.
And since this is just a discussion, I mean, if there's something that you guys wanna, sleep on, we can, schedule another discussion for another meeting if, something you wanna resonate on or talk about. I don't think we have to have a decision tonight on whether or not we wanna move forward or not,
You have time.
but what I would like to do is, at some point, after everybody's had time to think about it, is kind of give a thumbs up or a thumbs down so that Jason and the Parks Board aren't spinning their wheels, trying to come up with something that we're not even gonna put on the ballot, so. You guys wanna take some time, think about it, revisit it in a couple weeks, or are you prepared to say tonight, yes, let's move forward with it, or no, let's not?
I don't see a problem with moving forward with it. I think it's a good idea to let the community decide one way or the other, because the community as a whole had an awful lot to say about supporting the Parks Board. I think that this allows them to put their money where their mouth is.
Sure.
I agree.
Support their keyboard warrior, if you will.
David?
The only thing that holding me back would be nothing to fall back on. Maxing this out on the sales tax.
That is a concern, but again, the city has to speak their piece.
Yeah.
Rachel?
I would agree. I think that the people in the city need to decide if that's what they really want.
Joyce?
I'm a no tax girl. So
I know you hate it, and it's okay if you say you
less
don't want
government
it.
is better.
But I would say with that we have enough to go ahead and move forward with, putting together the language and making the structural preparations. Nothing's super easy, how many kids?
It's really super easy, I'm
The
not
state never
reinventing
makes
the
any,
wheel,
I've never seen
No,
the
it's-
state ever make anything easy.
I could probably in 5 minutes give you a
All right.
So you're not talking about a big lift, but you could put it on an agenda as an item for discussion, so people can come out and speak about it. And we can have a draft of it for that discussion, and then put it on for first and second reading, so that you're getting full participation.
Participation?
Sorry.
Precipitation?
Yes, sorry.
Rain, Holly.
We need some rain,
Hey.
but
Jason?
Yes.
I just thought crossed my mind. I hate asking this because I hate this question, but I know we do it all the time. The surrounding communities,
Yes.
local in southwest Missouri, do you have an idea of how many of them have parks taxes?
Springfield Green County has a parks tax. I believe Ozark has a parks tax. Nixa has been unsuccessful in their efforts to get a parks tax, and I think Republic has 2 parks taxes.
When you say Springfield Green County,
So, yes.
can you clarify that, please?
So the Springfield Green County Park Board is a countywide district, so
So does that mean that we in Willard are already contributing to the Green County parks?
we are already contributing and we do get a check for that. It is I think it's a portion based on the percentage of sales that come from our city, is that right, Gina?
Yes, Mike, so.
So we are getting some back, but
That
probably.
changes my
Can we find out
answer
how
just a
much?
little bit.
So would you like those
I
numbers
would
at the
like
next
a little
meeting
bit
for
more
the
detail
initial?
on
That
that.
might help with some of that.
Yeah, because I don't want to know.
I don't think we should be double taxed. for-
Well, I'm not that, yeah, but I want to make sure whatever we're getting is equitable.
Yeah, right.
I'd like to see the breakdown of who's getting what. Because it seems that some of these charges and things that we discovered lately, it doesn't seem like we're getting
What we should
what
do.
we should be getting. So. All right, well, let's do that then. All right, Wes.
Alright,
Do you have anything enlightening,
not enlightening.
astounding?
No, not even astounding. Routine, just routine. Some more website updates we've got pushed out. Thank you, Rachel, for spotting that the code vanished. The link to the municipal code vanished, but now it's up front and center on the website, so people can find it a little easier. We have got the employee policy manual in the final stages of review. Hope to get that to you by the end of March. That's with Anna at Laurel right now. We're going to have a meeting soon, just with some tweaks she's going to recommend. But it sounds like generally the whole thing is in pretty good shape, so should have that wrapped up. Got a manager's minute in the pipeline about the work at the Meadows. I would have had it today, but my phone decided to misbehave. But hopefully there'll be another update we get out here shortly. You may or may not notice, but it's still in the midst of cleaning up City Hall, making it look good. We wanted to reflect our best. My vision is I want people to know that they've arrived at the center of Willard's government, not at some strange building on the edge of town that looks a little scruffy. So staff has been doing a great job about trying to tidy up. We've been doing as much of it in-house to keep costs low. So more changes coming, and we might even try to get a lick of paint in this thing too. So trying to get it done. Outside wise, we budgeted for striping and sealing. Public Works has been tidying up the parking lots, so that when we do it, it looks good. We don't have to redo it because now we fixed something that needed to be redone. So that's coming along. We're going to try to construct a sign out front that will match all the other signs. Part of the branding effort I told you about last time. There might even be some power there, so we might even be able to make it look a little cool too. Planning on a state of the city message for the next meeting. I'll let you guys know what's going on, what the vision is and the direction. Let you guys ask me some questions, see if you can give me a headache. 2nd of March, can everybody make it for a special meeting on economic development? Will that work? It will be just for that. Anticipate about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Definitely bring your thinking hat.
Yes.
She gonna learn you a lot.
It's getting us closer, and we're already getting questions and queries, so I told you, you're gonna start doing this stuff, people take you much more seriously. We haven't even got the paper in yet, and they're already taking us a little more seriously than they were last year, so if we can keep it going, that'd be great. If everybody's good with, am I getting no pushback on the 2nd, all good for the 2nd? Potentially?
At 6?
6 o'clock? Yeah? David? Okay. And again, there won't be anything else on this, just that, and as soon as we get through it, we just all go home and have dinner or something. Alright, perfect. And we had, I'm kinda kind of jumping ahead of Jason a little bit, but, we had some good, participation, I feel like, in the Pilots Board meeting. I told Ollie a little while ago, we can add some additional seats to give flexibility to add bodies if those local people wanted to join. And then if later on, enrollment dwindles, you can just kind of dial it back and life goes on. So, we'll probably go ahead and add those additional spaces so next time if they're interested in signing up, tell them to hang in there, and as soon as we get it done, we'll get them some extra voices.
You'll have to bring another ordinance before the board, we're gonna change that, and then make sure I have a copy so I can have.
Oh, yes.
Put it in my
Yes,
file.
we'll make sure you have it over to your file.
Yeah.
That is everything in a nutshell for me. Busy, busy, busy.
Any new business? Any old business or unfinished business?
Oh man, you were quick on that. That was me.
Mike, you gotta be ready to fire, man.
You could hear him.
Oh, I heard him. I just wasn't fast enough on the mouth side of things.
You got target acquisition, you gotta be ready to pull the trigger, brother.
Why would you not be fast enough to mouth?
You know this is a
All
public.
right, go ahead, Pokey.
Okay, just for your information, we have the active transportation plan currently at planning and zoning. I foresee that being there at least a month. They're gonna be going over, public comments, they're gonna be going over the whole plan and then recommending it to the board. Our comprehensive plan's around 40 pages, the active transportation plan's probably about double that. So, we're looking at a revision next year of the comprehensive plan for some updates there, but just to bring this to your attention, a lot of effort went into it. It turned out really nice, but this will be, coming up next month, so.
All right,
That's all I got.
anything else?
Oh, no, thank you.
Not this
Are you
week.
sure? Will
Yeah.
we bring up popcorn when you bring us?
Whatever you
this
want,
massive-
whatever
I
you
know,
want.
like, I'm caffeine.
Yep. Just let me know.
Mike will keep it very entertaining.
That's
You
true.
can rely on
Ask him
that.
for his peanut butter and nuts.
I can't, everybody eats them.
That's true, we do.
All right, that is all I have, if somebody wants to make a motion.
Make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
I second that.
I have a first, I have a second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? And we're adjourned.